and thanks for joining us today for a new knowledge session. This is our 9th series of professional development workshops to support business owners. We support business owners, nonprofits, and citizens in not only Washington County, but around the Commonwealth. I'm Billy Roberts with Virginia Community Capital, and if you're familiar with us, we are a community development financial institution providing lending, investing, and community innovation services. We are happy to partner with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the town of Abingdon to present this business and organization skill development. This program was started in 2014 to support the Washington County Business Challenge competitors and has become one of the oldest running business training programs in Virginia. Today's session will be recorded for training and educational purposes. Before we get started, I wanted to note that in order to keep the webinar flowing and stay within our 1-hour goal, we usually mute everybody, but with the couple of attendees that we have, if you guys want to pop in with a question, I'm sure you'll be okay with that, David, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So let's welcome David Maloney. He is the senior principal at Wize Solutions in Abingdon. He's a 25-plus year veteran of the IT consulting industry and a 13-plus year resident of Abingdon, Virginia. When he's not working, he's probably at a community theater somewhere, having performed at Kingsport Theater Guild, Theater Bristol, and Greenfield Theater Guild, the Lyrics Players in St. Paul, and currently at Lamplight Theater in Kingsport. Today, he's talking about Southwest Virginia, how Southwest Virginia can be a great place for the next generation of IT jobs. Please, let's all welcome David. And what an impressive list of places where you perform. That really is something.
I can stop anytime I want to.
That's the best part, right?
Welcome, everybody. That's a lie. I tried to quit in July. It lasted a week. Welcome to this session. I'm good at storytelling. I think that's probably one of my strengths. So I want to tell you a story about me and how I got to Abingdon. I grew up in a small copper mining town in British Columbia on the western side of Canada. My small town that I lived in obviously was supported by the mine. We had anywhere from 1,200 to 2,500 residents of the town, depending on the price of copper and how the mines were doing financially. I always assumed that going to go work in the mine was my future. That's where my dad worked. That's everybody in town either worked at the mine or in a support role for the miners in the town, the restaurants, the bars, the bank, etc. So I just assumed the mine was where I would go. And then when I was in high school, one of my teachers had a talk with me and noticed my skill and talent and interest in computers and said, you can have a career with that. And I said, well, I guess, but from what I know, there's like 2 computer jobs at the mine, and my friend's dad has one of them, and I'm not going to be able to get his job. He's not going to retire for a while, so I'm going to have to leave home. And I did. I went to school in the neighboring province of Alberta, got my IT degree, and then got hired by a big American IT consulting firm who moved me and my fiance, who turned into my wife very quickly, moved us down to Denver, where we started our careers in the IT space. We were happy in Denver. Things were going well. And then in 2009, during what was a tough economic time, it became financially viable for our employer and for my wife and I to pack up and move from Denver to Southwest Virginia to our office, which had a location in Lebanon, Virginia. That's where I've been since 2009. I love it out here. I did not expect to stay here, honestly. I thought I'd be here for a year or 2 and move back to Denver. But then again, when I moved to Denver, I thought I'd be there for a year or 2 and then move back to Canada. So apparently I am very bad at predicting my future, but I'm also very happy where I end up. I have been, like I said, here in Southwest Virginia since 2009. And in 2018, I had the opportunity to move to an IT startup company called Wize Solutions. And I'll talk more about that later. But so I've been in the industry 26 years now, I guess, doing IT consulting. That's me. Let's talk about the next generation of IT jobs, because that kind of path of coming from a historically mining town really kind of resonated when I moved out here to a smaller center than Denver with a history in tobacco and coal, which were jobs and industries that are trending down. So the jobs that are trending up is IT. As of a 2021 study from CompTIA, there were about 450,000 tech jobs in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That represents 11% of the total working workforce in this state. We saw about 27,000, almost 28,000 net new tech jobs over the last decade. We project, or they project, that there will be 33,000 new tech jobs created in this state over the next decade. So it's a growing industry. It's going to continue to grow. And here's what's kind of exciting about that. The median tech wage in Virginia is pretty healthy. Now, that's not the median tech wage in Southwest Virginia, but we'll talk about that later. But this is definitely, it's a growth area for jobs. It's a growth industry for salaries. And the estimated direct economic impact of tech jobs in Virginia is definitely not satanic, $6.6 billion. I checked that 3 times to make sure I wasn't typing that wrong, but that's $66 billion. That's a huge economic impact. That's the bigger picture of Virginia. Now, Southwest Virginia is a little bit different. Out here in Southwest Virginia, we have a population decrease over the last year of just under 1%. That's not good. That doesn't help us. Employment of the people here, the people that are employed, went down 3%. The median household income, you can see, is about half of what the average tech salary is. So Southwest Virginia is kind of a tale of two cities in terms of economic prosperity, economic prospects, and we've got a huge opportunity, and that opportunity is IT to turn things around and make it better here. When you look at Southwest Virginia compared to a random city in Northern Virginia, I picked Fairfax completely randomly, and Ernie will know that I'm lying when I said Fairfax was random. But Fairfax is a city that I'm aware of up in Northern Virginia, and I did a quick little cost of living comparison between Abingdon and Fairfax. And the big takeaway here is that Fairfax is 77% more expensive to live in than Abingdon is. That's why you see those huge salaries up there. The biggest factor is the median home cost. This one blows my mind. The median home cost in Abingdon is just under $200,000. In Fairfax, it's $652,000 median. That's insane. And well, it is what it is. It's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm not in a city anymore. But I don't want to walk through every single one of these. Suffice it to say that the cost of living in Abingdon is significantly less than being in the big city. But there's absolutely no reason those same IT jobs can't be done here. And I'll talk a little bit about that later as well. So Southwest Virginia, why are we here? Why is this a great place for the next generation of IT jobs? Why am I staying here? Why do I love it here? What do we have going for us? And this is, I didn't know Lee was going to be here, but the first thing I said, what do we have going for us? We have a good community college system here. Between VHCC, Southwest up in Tazewell, and Mountain Empire over in Big Stone, we've got good community college systems in this region that provide an affordable education to people and giving them the right skills. After the community college system, we've got a good college system around here too. UVA Wize and Radford are both close by. And even though ETSU isn't technically in Virginia, it's a stone's throw from Abingdon, and it has supplied over 40% of our workforce at the company I work for. So ETSU has a strong program, and as well as our other local, absolutely Virginia-based. What else do we have? We've got fiber broadband. And I know in the cities, that's probably a given. They're going to have fiber. When you get to the more rural parts of America, and especially here, fiber is not necessarily a given. You might have some decent broadband, but we definitely have a good fiber backbone, at least coming as far as Abingdon and stretching out into some of the other parts of Southwest Virginia now. We've got the interstate, we're accessible, and we have RETA. RETA is a very unique piece of government help that we are benefiting from at my company. RITA stands for the Rural Information Technology Apprentice Program, and it is a Virginia state level program that helps local, rural, small businesses with some funding to help bring on apprentices and train apprentices. Uh, it helps the company save a bit of money. It gives people here that may not have made it through the college system yet, it gives them some on-the-job experience without having that border, that barrier of having to have that 4-year degree, and is a huge help. Lee, is that your hand that's up?
Yeah, because the chat is disabled. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I had a question. What does RITA stand for again? I got rural, but I didn't get an apprenticeship. Yeah. I didn't get the other.
Information technology.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a program that is meant to help local. It's very targeted at certain counties in Virginia. It's not meant for the big IT companies up in Fairfax that don't need the help getting people on and whatnot. The idea is two-pronged. It helps us with our costs. It helps people that may not have the skills or training necessarily to get in and get some real on-the-job training and get them into the IT field. And it's a win-win for everybody, really. And that's exciting. And that program is administered by David Maloney down at the Higher Ed Center. So it's very, very Abingdon centric, I think, although it is legally open to several counties in the area, but it has a strong Abingdon presence. What don't we have going for us? With all that on our plate, why aren't there tech jobs coming out the wazoo here in Abingdon? Well, we don't have the jobs. And we have people that are going through the community college system, going on to college, getting their 4-year degree, getting the skills they need to be successful in the next generation economy, and then they're leaving Southwest Virginia. So I want to tell you guys a little story about a company that saw that gap and did something about it. And that company is who I work for now, called Wize Solutions. We have, let me talk about all three of these people at once, basically. So we have Wendy and Dario Marquez. They are what I call serial entrepreneurs. They have created and made businesses successful in Northern Virginia since 1979. They know what they're doing in terms of business. They have the contacts and the expertise to make a business successful in Virginia. And Mark Ashley over there on the right was with a company called CGI for 30 years doing IT. And for probably the last 15 or 20 of those years, he's been doing IT work in rural Virginia and making it work. So he's very experienced in the IT world. The others have the experience in the business world and whatnot. So that group of people that came together was what looked to me to be the magic that would make Wize Solutions work. And I got to join them very early on. They met in 2017, kind of had their initial vision. And September of 2018, myself as well as 3 others hopped on board and started this great company called Wize Solutions. Since 2018, we have grown. We now have 25 employees and always looking to grow. Lee, is your hand up for something different, or is that just still up? I'm sorry.
No, I think you have to take it down or something. I guess I don't know. Maybe okay. I just took it down.
Okay, good. So we've grown a lot over the last 4 years, and some of it was expected and planned. Nobody expected or planned COVID. And I'm not going to say anything positive about a global pandemic that killed millions of people. But what we learned in COVID times was that one of the obstacles we had with potential clients was that we were so far away from Richmond or from Northern Virginia that we weren't physically on site with our clients. And it was a little bit slower going to get started, because everybody expected to have people on site all the time. When COVID hit and everything changed, including the IT industry, we all learned pretty quickly that we could still deliver while not being in the downtown high rises of Richmond or Northern Virginia. And during the COVID times, our company doubled again from 8 to 16 employees. So it helped us in that regard the world changing helped us. I'll say it that way. The world changing helped us so that we did not have that barrier with potential clients that we can't do the work because we're not physically in the big cities. Where it has hurt us, to be frank, is that we're now competing with people in the big cities for potential resources to come and work for us. But that's something that we're all figuring out in this new world. So we've done well, and we haven't just done well for ourselves. One of the things that Wize Solutions prides ourselves on is what we do in the community. We've helped with United Way putting food into kids' backpacks at local elementary schools. We've sponsored shows at the Barter Theater and done work there. We've helped a local pharmacy with administration work as they were trying to get as many vaccines into arms as quickly as possible. I helped at a crisis pregnancy center putting together baskets for young mothers that needed some extra help. At the Paramount downtown Bristol, installing a new computer-controlled lighting system, food, 5Ks, and some of you may remember that camel we brought to the Christmas parade in Abingdon a couple years ago, just for the fun of it. So I think Wize and Southwest Virginia has been a match made in heaven. I think it's really working out well and proving that all the infrastructure that's been put into place here for years and years is sufficient and good and adequate. And this can be a hub for the next generation of IT jobs. And we're not the only ones. I can't talk about tech jobs here without talking about CGI. That's the company that my wife and I worked for 22 years before they moved us out here. And they've got lots of jobs up in Russell County, just up the road. The only thing with CGI is they're not based here. So they've got a lot of jobs here, but the big corporate money goes to Montreal and Fairfax. 1901 Group just opened up an office across the hall from us here in the incubator. And again, also recognizing the people resources that we have here and the great place that Southwest Virginia is, opening up that office. They're based in Reston, Virginia, and all the big top salaries are going up to Northern Virginia, which is, I guess that's still Virginia. And then another company that I know about, Tri-Cities IT, they're based down in Bristol, Virginia. And the owner of this company, I have actually known since he was in high school, and I'm incredibly proud of him and the work he's doing, bringing more IT jobs to this area and building a successful company right here. So there are other companies that are realizing, these are just the ones that I'm personally familiar with. I'm sure there's other IT jobs around here. And our hope is that Abingdon and the greater Southwest Virginia area will become a hub and become the next great Silicon Valley of Southwest Virginia. So for all those reasons, we think this is a great place to be. We've been successful. Other companies are successful as well. That went a lot faster than I expected, so I'll open it up to questions.
Hey, David, so what services, jobs does Wize offer?
Yeah, Wize, for the benefit of people who, like you and I, unlike you and I, did not work at CGI, it's IT consulting jobs. We're looking for professionals that can do IT consulting, that are flexible, that are one of our favorite degrees is the ETSU computer science degree, and not throwing any shade at any other schools, but that's just one that's been very successful for us. The kind of work we do, I took that out of this slide deck, so I didn't think it was as important, but maybe it is. We do a lot of work in the RPA space, doing robotic process automation, which has nothing to do with robots and a lot to do with computers. A lot of RPA work, we do a lot of services work, and we do some custom software development as well for our clients. We compete with CGI for the same talent that's in Southwest Virginia. Does that help? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And who are some of your clients?
The clients I can talk about are the state of Virginia is one of our clients. We have work with several different departments in Virginia. We do work we subcontract with a large IT consulting company, and that work ends up at the state of Virginia as well. And then we have some other work for another large government contractor where we are the prime contractor on that work. Carmen.
What technical positions and roles have you held?
The question from Carmen in the room is, what technical roles and positions have I held throughout my career? I guess I should have talked about myself more. I could have made that first story about Dave way longer, but I didn't want to bore anybody. Dave started off as a fresh college hire with a computer information systems degree as a junior programmer. And I wrote COBOL code for a couple of years. I wrote C and C++ code for a few years. And after, I don't know, 6 or 8 years, I kind of felt like I'd been there, done that with writing software all year long. As much as I loved it, I just felt like I wanted something different. I took on a system engineering role. In the system engineering role, I worked as an Oracle DBA, a Linux system administrator, a SAN administrator, which is storage area network, is like a large storage array of hard disks that all the different servers used. A backup engineer. We had this really cool tape robot that actually was a robot, unlike robotic process automation. The tape robot was a real robot that would manage, I think we had 50 tapes in the little library that it worked on, and we would maintain that as well. I did system engineering for a few years, eventually worked up to the point where I was the team lead on that system engineering team and was managing people. I'll give another shout out to Toastmasters, since that was kind of before we started the presentation. Toastmasters was huge in my professional development, giving me the confidence to be able to talk to people on the phone, in person, or on webinars, or even in local theater. So between Toastmasters and my professional experience, that led me to the place where when Wize came knocking, I was confident and ready and willing to go and take this role on. At this role, as Billy introduced me earlier, my job title is senior principal. Just means I've got some experience, and I do a little bit of people management, a little bit of recruiting, and a whole lot of work for one of our major clients.
I have a quick question, David. So I guess, so did you have anything else planned, or is this the presentation?
This is the presentation.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you had any other questions. I didn't want to steal your thunder, as they say. So what kinds? I know that I think Ernie just asked about this, but specifically, what kinds of jobs? I know you said you're looking to grow. If we had some students that, they're asking, well, what can I do with this degree, kind of thing? What kind of answers would I give them? What specific jobs are y'all are posted on your website now? That kind of thing.
Yeah, the standard answer for people asking at the community college level is go and finish your 4-year degree and then come back. Now, the RETA program has given us some more flexibility in what we can do in terms of, we recently hired somebody who's actually from out of state, but it was a referral that we got, who had his 2-year degree, and we were able to utilize the RETA program to bring him on and build him up internally. That's something that I've been personally excited about, the possibility of having people not have to leave Abingdon. My goal is to see people go to Abingdon High, get born at JMH, go to high school at Abingdon High, go to VHCC, and then come work for Wize. That is my dream of what we can accomplish here. Right now, some of our clients really want to see those degrees before we send resumes in. So we're in that kind of transition point where we're really trying. Best advice I would give someone in your situation is talk to us. Maybe we can make something happen, but getting that degree will open up a whole world of opportunities, even if it's not with me and the best place to live, which is Southwest Virginia.
Okay, I do appreciate that.
Some of the specifics, we like software development. We like the jobs that are posted on our website or on Indeed, probably right now look like RPA developers. And honestly, one of the things about the computer industry throughout my career, I started off doing COBOL, then C++, then system administration, and now I'm doing this other work with ServiceNow, is that the skills that we learn and we expect people to learn in college are not necessarily the exact tools they will use through their career. It's not like you learn how to build a widget and then build that widget for 30 years. What we expect to see from people coming out of the education system is people who have learned how to learn and how to be flexible and how to use different tools, because I guarantee you what the work you're doing now in IT is not going to be the same thing you're doing in 5 years.
Okay, I get that. So you said that y'all are looking for software developers, RPA developers, any other. The reason I'm asking about this is that there's a good deal of revision going on with IT degrees and computer science degrees across the state of Virginia, both here at Virginia Highlands in our career and technical programs, but then also across the state in the whole VCCS. They are actually right now working on 2 transfer degrees specifically aimed at computer science and then networking. And so that's where I wanted some feedback on, what kind of jobs are you seeing out there more, specific, because, we're going to, obviously, I hate to say this because I lived in Fairfax County for, I guess, 2 years. So I'm very familiar with that region. I lived in Charlottesville for a year, but that was part of my territory when I lived in Virginia for 3. And so I'm very, very familiar with Fairfax County and the Northern Virginia area. And I hate to say it, but the way to get Southwest Virginians on your side is not to talk about the Potomac. So that's where the work that's going on in Richmond and largely influenced by Nova, we're looking to really come up with our own solutions that will be very indicative and impactful to Southwest Virginia. So that's the reason I was very excited about this webinar, because I really liked hearing about what IT jobs are here. So that's why I keep pressing about what jobs can our students look to be hired to do. So like, I'll give you an example. If we started these 2 transfer degrees, which we do have 1 transfer IT degree, but if we bring on this additional one in computer science, what we're looking at is, yes, we have no problem with the students, starting here, going on to say ETSU or Radford or VCU, and then or Old Dominion. I know is one that they're very that's worked very closely with us. And then because I think most of the students around here coming from Southwest Virginia have no desire to go to Fairfax County, or really almost even go past the border into the Tri-Cities. They're very, very southwestern, very centric to that area. So that's where I'm asking around what kinds of jobs, what kinds of degrees, and then also, and maybe this is a one-off, and maybe you and I can speak at a different time, but I think if they're going through our career program, whether it's an associate of applied science degree, it's not a transfer degree, I guess we would look more at the RETA option as a choice there. And then I guess the others that are looking maybe to work, maybe have more options, like you said, working at CGI or these others, could look at the transfer degrees. Is that kind of what you're saying, or?
Yeah, I think so. And I was reminded by one of my coworkers in the room here that we also are looking for business intelligence people. So that's one of the hot, trendy categories that's out there now. And the amount of work that's out there for BI seems, it's very exciting.
Okay, so when you say business intelligence, are you talking about like data analytics or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can tell you a quick story about that. We did have one of our clients I mentioned is a federal contractor. So one of our guys here was working on a report once in his data analytics business intelligence role that actually ended up in the White House for the president and vice president to review. And some of the feedback he got was, yes, this one set of numbers in green is higher and the number is over here in red are lower, but you need to put an up arrow on the green numbers and a down arrow on the red one so the president can understand it.
Wow.
And
this was recent, is that right?
I'm not going to tell you if it was before or after the most recent election. I will tell you it was sometime between 2018 and 2022.
Aha, I see. Okay. So, wow, that's really amazing. Yeah, that's actually an area we do have a business program, but it's very, very small and it's very traditional. So I can't say that it would be as cutting edge as what this would be. And I do know data analytics or big data, whatever you want to call it, I mean, it's been a rager for the past, I don't know, 5 years at least. So that would definitely, I'm thinking that they're definitely looking for bachelor's degrees in that, right? I would have a hard time believing that somebody could get a degree or get an associate degree and then step into data analytics. Is that what you're hearing? Or are they so desperate they'll take, a really good associate degree?
I hate to give you a weasel answer, but it really does. It depends on the person. It depends on the client. It depends on the kind of work. It's definitely harder if you only have the associates, but it's not impossible. And I just got a comment here from one of the people in the room with me. He has a 2-year IT degree from community college, and then he did his bachelor's all online from ODU from his home in Southwest Virginia. So there's definitely opportunities to do that. And we've brought people on who are maybe only one who's still working on his bachelor's. I think most people had it. And it's just because of the clients we have and our ability to either present them to a client or not.
Okay. All right. So you do have a few people that have the associate degree only, and that they're basically working on their bachelor's while they're
I think what I'm thinking about is we have hired 2 or 3 people that were enrolled at ETSU, still working on their bachelor's, but we wanted to get them the job offer and get them into the office and working before somebody else hired them.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've done that strategically at times, but those times they were actively working on the bachelor's.
Okay. So what you're saying basically, like if we're guiding our students, if we're advising them. So what I'm hearing you say a lot is ETSU has a great degree, like you said. And then are you saying ODU would be another choice that we would suggest?
Yeah, the reason I keep saying ETSU is just because they're maybe one of the closer colleges. And when I was at CGI recruiting and at Wize recruiting, we know that if you can make it through ETSU's computer science program, you're going to be just fine.
Okay. Okay. Well, the only reason I'm asking about ODU is that they have, they are at the higher ed center. And we have a lot of students. They work very, very well with us. So we have a lot of students that finish here, and then they go straight there. And of course, when I say go, I mean they're physically not moving. They finish those degrees, whatever it is, whether it's IT or business or what have you. They're finishing online, and ODU's been really good to work with. They just make the transition for our students very easy, which, as you know, in Southwest Virginia, is the name of the game.
Yep. Yeah, no, we've hired, obviously, we have an ODU alum right here with us. We've recruited and hired from UVA Wise and Radford, King, my school in Canada. There's lots of paths.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee, for the questions and involvement. Thank you, Ernie, for the questions. What else?
We good to go, you think?
I am, definitely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, thanks,
Good.
David.
Wonderful. Yeah, it was great conversation, right? Great back and forth. Thank you guys, the attendees, for participating. And thank you, David, for your time and sharing your expertise this afternoon. Also, thanks to everybody taking time out of your busy schedules. Let me just mention that we have a full list of upcoming new knowledges that have different topics. You can go to events.vastartup.org to see those. The next one will be November 2nd, and it's actually going to be on starting or running an Airbnb. So Janice Thayer will be joining us for that. And
Billy?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Could you put that website in the chat so that we
I
can
sure will.
Go to that in the future?
Absolutely. I will try. I'm on my phone because my computer was giving me some issues. So give me just a minute. I will put it in the chat before I close this up. Okay.
Or you could just email it to us. How about that?
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'll send that to you guys. Also, so this session will be recorded, It'll also be available on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator Facebook page, Virginia Community Capital's Facebook page. And Lee, if you go to YouTube and just type in new knowledge and whatever subject you'd like to learn more on, maybe Facebook marketing or something like that, there are over 170 workshops that are available online there for you to check out. That might be helpful for some topics you might be interested in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, not a problem at all, guys. Hope you guys can join us in November. And thank you again, David. This was really great. It's very nice meeting you.
All right. Good to meet you, Billy. Good to see you again, Nita. Thanks, Ernie. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.